Okay, we're live.
Welcome, everybody, to Broadcast Team Alpha, where we bring you cutting-edge conversations while exploring the quantum possibilities. And we have a phenomenal guest today, back by popular demand, the amazing Jordan Maxwell. And before we get into the conversation with him, we'd like to invite you to connect with us. Connect with us on broadcastteamalpha.com. You can connect with us on our YouTube channel of the same name. And please subscribe, and be sure that if you do subscribe, if you'd like notifications, to hit the little bell in the upper right-hand corner. We are so grateful for your support, for liking and sharing and telling people about us. And there's a new function if you'd like to support us with a super chat. It's kind of like the tip jar when you go out to dinner or when you go out and see great music. So feel free to utilize that function. So without one quick disclaimer, the thoughts, opinions, and expressions of Broadcast Team Alpha's guests do not necessarily represent those of Broadcast Team Alpha. Without any further ado, Augie, tell us what's shaken with Mr. Jordan Maxwell.
Oh, yes. We're so delighted to have Jordan Maxwell with us again. He is a legend in his own time, and he is returning to Broadcast Team Alpha here. And this is one man that I don't need to read his bio. Anybody that's been outside of the box for 20 minutes, they will know his name. So without any more ado, I want to welcome Jordan Maxwell to the show again. Thank you.
Thank you very much for
Welcome.
the pleasure of being with you.
Welcome. Tom. I didn't introduce my co-host, forgive me. Tom and Augie are here with the amazing Jordan Maxwell. Jordan, I just want to tell you, my sister doesn't know anything about the conversations that we have or these topics. And when she said, "Who are you interviewing today?" I said, "Jordan Maxwell." She said, "Oh yeah, I heard his name." So even my sister knows you.
Wow. That's always surprising to me how many people know my name, because I don't really think of myself as very important, and I don't really feel I've made very much of an impact anywhere.
You are well loved.
Boy, are you wrong.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. You have no idea. You probably have no idea how much of an impact you have done on the freedom thinking community out there. It is phenomenal. I have known of you for 30 years.
Wow.
Since back in the dark ages.
I just live by myself. I don't go anywhere. I'm too old to be traveling. I used to travel all around the world giving lectures, but I don't go anywhere anymore. I just stay home and do what I do and do radio. So I don't really feel the effect of really affecting society. I don't know what's happening out there. I just do what I do and see where it goes.
Well, we're grateful that you do what you do.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Very, very grateful. It's really very cool that you're on today with us. You've got and some insights that a lot of people have begun to really rely on. And so we wanted to throw some questions your way, one of which is, what is your current take on what seems to be kind of an accelerated disclosure? The disclosure, ufology, ETs, this may be unraveling at a faster pace than maybe what we realize. Do you think that's the case?
I think that the government is going to allow disclosure because they cannot stop it. They can't stop the people from thinking. They're trying desperately to take your brain out, and so that you can't think at all. But people are beginning to question the reality the government has provided us with, and we know there's something else going on. I don't know if the government itself is going to come out and say anything, because they've never said anything. The U.S. government in particular has never said anything of any intrinsic value since I've been on the earth for 80 years. I've never heard the government say anything that makes any sense or has of any importance at all to anyone. The way you look at the government is it's purposely there to control people, to keep them under control. That's why you have a police department. They're called peace officers. the peace officers are there as police to keep the peace. The government wants peaceful compliance. They don't want people in the streets ranting and raving and wanting the truth and demanding things. They want people to be quiet and be peaceful and go along to get along and accept whatever they're told. That's what the government wants. So I don't think the U.S. government or any other governments are going to come out and say anything about powers that are here on the earth far, far greater than they are.
What about these recent revelations, Jordan, from some of these guys like Academy to the Stars? They just did a first season on History Channel about they really focused in on this Tic Tac UFO thing that was announced as factual by the government back in October, I believe it was, of last fall. And so now this seems to be kind of a ramping up of this kind of thing. Do you think that's going to increase?
It's kind of hard to tell because I know government is not interested in telling the people anything, period. End of sentence. And therefore, it's kind of a difficult subject to look at because I know that they are coming out with television shows, about extraterrestrials, and there's a lot of that going on now. When I first started talking about the ET and the extraterrestrial UFO impact on society back in 1959, some 60 years ago, most people had no idea in the world what I was talking about. There were a few people who were aware in 1947 of what was it? The city in New Mexico. What was the name of it?
Got a direct hit.
Roswell, yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry,
yes,
I took a lightning hit here. Sorry, Jordan.
Oh, okay. 1947, Roswell. A lot of people woke up then to the fact that there very well is, in fact, extraterrestrial life here on the earth. And so I've been talking about this for some 60 years, and I think people are now beginning on their own to perceive that there is something going on other than what we are being told. But it's not the government's going to tell you anything. You're going to see it if you're going to see it. You won't if you won't.
Yeah.
And somebody said a long time ago, the conspiracy to keep the UFO quiet is actually being done by the aliens themselves. Because if they wanted us to see them, they could. I have seen some stuff here in Arizona this past couple of nights ago that was so startling and so profound that the people that were with me, there was about 5 of us on the back porch with no roof. We were sitting and looking at the stars and talking, and all of a sudden in the sky was an incredible display of technology that shocked us all. It really shocked me. I've never seen anything myself like this. It was a huge, enormous, it looked like the moment we first saw the light in the sky, we thought it was a meteor. But it was very, very bright, and it only went about 2 inches and stopped. And it looked like a bullet being stopped in space. And all of a sudden, the bullet thing, whatever it was, glowed very bright. I had to turn away your eye from it. It was so bright. And then it went out, and then it continued to be there, but there was a long line through it. And this bullet thing, whatever it was, it could have been some sort of a craft that had been hit. It looked just like a craft that had been hit with some sort of a weapon of some sort. And then it blew it up, and when it blew up, it was very bright, and then you could see it was still there as the light was dimming. You could see it was there, but it had been hit by some sort of high technology. And so I'm sure that there's something going on here, that we are, as humans, beginning to see the imprint of extraterrestrial life here on the earth. And it's
Jordan,
going to get more and more obvious as time goes on.
Jordan, did you hear of anybody else in the news or anywhere else that had reported that same sighting, like MUFON or anything like
What we were looking and kind of looking around to see what if somebody was saying something. I myself haven't seen anything. The people I live with, they've been looking. I haven't asked them. I hadn't got around to asking them. But all of us that were here, there was about 5 of us. And it was an extraordinary event. Somebody was firing on a craft and hit it. And the craft blew up and right in front of us. And we just happened by chance to be sitting on the back porch, reclining in chairs and looking in the sky. And all of a sudden, boom, something just happened. And so I know that Arizona has a record of watching a lot of strange things in the sky and Phoenix lights. Well, in northern Arizona, we got strange things going on here too. So I know that the UFO and the extraterrestrial are going to eventually make themselves obvious. But most people don't want to believe. They don't want to hear it. But you're going to have to hear it. If it's true, you're going to have to hear it anyway, whether it's true, whether you like it or not. Yeah. And I do believe that we are being led. There's no doubt in my mind that we humans are being led by extraterrestrial intelligences. And that our technology is slowly but surely being spoon-fed to us. Little by little, they give you a little of this, a little bit of that, and a little of, what do you call it, the sending light through waves.
What's telling you this, Jordan? What's giving you this sense, or that you feel about this? What's informing you?
I'm seeing too much. I'm hearing too much from people around the world, and I myself am, in point of fact, seeing things myself that I've never seen before. And I know that times are getting very, very frightening right now. Politically, we are in serious trouble.
Now we got to know, what are you seeing that's really getting your attention?
I'm seeing an overthrow of the United States of America. And when it comes, it will be like the fall of the Roman Empire. I feel like we in America today, in North America, are living in the 5th century AD, when the fall of the Roman Empire came, and it was a horrible disaster that the whole world felt for years later after the fall of the Roman Empire. And that's what I see coming here in America, and I'm looking at next year. I think that the worst situation that the Americans have ever faced from the founding of this country will be next year, because I think that the world revolutionary movement wants to overthrow the U.S. once and for all, and totally destroy the presence of the American freedom and concepts of ideas and belief systems as we hold in North America. We need to wipe it out off the earth forever. So there will never be a time where people will be able to think for themselves and to investigate and to talk publicly to each other. The people who are running this planet do not want people thinking. They don't want this idea of human freedom and human liberty and all that nonsense. They don't want people thinking that way. There's never been a time on the earth when the powers that be were always happy to see the people rise up and want their freedom. Never. That's never happened before. And now we're coming to a point where now we're going to have to decide as a human race, do we want our freedom or what? And if you do, you're going to have to pay for it, because it's going to be in the streets and it's going to be in your face. And we are facing a terrible time in our history coming up next year.
It seems like something is coming to a head, because the dark side is not really giving up, but that's where we, in our mind, has to know what we need to do and create our own reality within the other structures around us. So
yeah, that's what I think. I think the same thing.
Mhm.
is all coming to a head. And the people who want to destroy this country are doing it in such a way that you would never suspect who they really, in point of fact, really are. What we call the Democratic Party is nothing more than the same identical situation that the Soviet Union operated under. It was called the Soviet Communist Party. Well, that's what we have going on in America today. The Democratic Party is the old Soviet Communist overthrow America operation that fell because of its own weakness. It fell on its own. And I think that that's why today the Democratic Party wants to reinstate world communism in America and have us all a slave to the state where there is no God, there is no light, there is no questioning, there is nothing but compliance. And this is the old Nazi idea of compliance and so this is what we're looking at. And I do believe, I mean, I'm not a prophet, but I do believe that Trump offers an idea that's really strange to reestablish the American system of government on the earth is really a profound idea, and I think he's probably up to it because he is a corporate mind and he does understand what's going on and he knows what the Democratic Party really is, where it really came from and how it actually started. And he said things like that in public. So I think we're going to see a major confrontation between freedom and human dignity.
So, what do you say about his racist comments and his treatment of people at the border? That has actually been quite cruel and quite racist. What do you say about
So
that?
are we, I just want to ask the question, are we going to get into like a political debate, or are we going to continue with what we're talking about?
No, let's not do that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
There's no place.
Yeah, I don't want to go there because
I don't either. I don't care to go there. I'm just saying that
I see.
I just see a terrible tragedy coming to America and to the whole world because when America gets a cold, everybody else gets TB.
Yeah, right.
You know, if we have a little problem, the rest of the world that depends on us to feed them and finance them and take care of them are going to have a big problem. If we have a little problem, they're going to have a big one. America.
Yeah, I think we got to remember for the last comment on the political side here, we got to remember what the Communist Party of the United States said in their last newsletter when they closed down business in the United States is there is no reason for us to do business in the United States because the Democratic Party will do the work for us.
That's right. Exactly.
That was it. But let's just go back to what I can see you understanding also about the disclosure. There is so much information and probably disinformation out there. Are you able to see through some of that?
Yes, there is a movement in this country to overthrow the government. And I came upon back in 1967, I said this the last time I think I mentioned this. In 1967, I was in Glendale, California, and I was researching the idea of Nazism and communism, and doing some research in the library in Glendale, California. And I came across it was called a World Book Encyclopedia under the subject of Russia. And in that article, it had on the first page a symbol of the Russian flag, which was the red flag with the hammer and sickle, but above it was a symbol of the national coat of arms, the national coat of arms of the Soviet Union, and it had a little 4 or 5 sentences beneath it explaining what the national coat of arms symbolism was. And when I read that article, it was just a little short article talking about the national coat of arms of the Soviet Union. It struck me that this was the most important symbol I am ever going to see, the most important subject I'm ever going to deal with. And I knew instinctively that this was a very powerful subject. And I began researching the symbolism of world revolutionary movement or world communism. And I began to see it in Hollywood, in motion pictures, in military, in churches, in religion, in government. All over the world, people are using the symbol for the world revolutionary movement of world communism and don't even know it. They don't know where the symbols have come from. They use terms that they don't know where the terms came from. It's just everybody says it, everybody uses the terms, and so it must be all right. No, it's not all right. You need to do your homework and find out where these words have come from, who said them first. And I am telling you, I am sure there's no doubt in my mind that Freemasonry is behind all of this. Period. The entire story of the darkness that's on the earth is a Freemasonic movement. And I hate to say that, but it's overwhelmingly obvious. And there was a book put out by the chief librarian of the Library of Congress. His name was James Billington. James Billington was, a few years ago, the chief librarian for the Library of Congress. And he put out a very thick research volume on the world revolutionary movement. It was called Fire in the Minds of Men. And in it, he explained the symbols and the words and the terms that are going to be used in the overthrow of the human race. Here's what the words are going to be. Here's what the symbols are going to be. And be damned if that's exactly what's being talked about today all over the world. And I'm seeing it, and it's right there in the book. And then I began looking at that because that was what I saw back in '67 when he talked about. Then I began looking because with the advent of the computer and the web, I began looking at that symbol on the web, and by God, it's everywhere. And the one company in Los Angeles that uses it all the time is ABC Disney. Disney ABC must be the most corrupt of all of the entertainment in Hollywood. I think the king of corruption has to be Disney ABC. It is an incredible story when you see the words and the terms and the symbols that they use every day in your face, and find out where they came from, what those symbols mean, and where the words came from. Then it's going to knock you out. It's going to absolutely knock you out when you see it.
Mm. Well, it gets deep when you get into those waters, and it's really hard to see for someone that is especially in the box, or someone that doesn't have the background that we do. Is very hard to see what will benefit us and what will enslave us, because the slave masters are so bright at putting the bright light on the darkness and covering it up. So, but I think, what do you think? Could it be that when it gets really bad, if it gets bad, then that maybe the alien presence will come in and show themselves at that time, that will divert the government's agenda somewhat? Do you think that's possible?
I think that's probably possible, but in the movie, the television show that was done a couple of years ago at Disney, they did a very big, because they own ABC. So it was an ABC television special, and it was called V. It was called V for visitors, the visitors.
Yes.
We talked about the extraterrestrial visitors, and the name of the show was called V. And it was a redoing of an earlier NBC television show called V, in which the visitors came from outer space, came here to this earth to show themselves to the earth and to lead us into paradise. They were coming here to show us how to live. And then we find out, no, they weren't coming here to show us how to live and to help us. They came here to control us, to own us. And so this is what the new V, which Disney produced, said the same thing, that the extraterrestrials are coming here. They're going to be our friends, and they're promoting it in the movie. You go back and watch the old show V, done about 5 years ago by Disney. But the extraterrestrials in that movie, in that TV show, they handed out a booklet to everyone on the earth. They had spreading the little booklet all over the earth to tell the world about who they were and what they've come here to do. And when you see the booklet, on the cover of the booklet is exactly the same symbol that the World Revolutionary Communist Party uses. The very same symbol.
Wow.
And it shocked me when I saw it.
Wow.
You mean the extraterrestrials who are coming from another world, coming down here in the movie V, are coming to help us and to, and to take care of us and to show us a better way to live. They're going to give us a world government, a world religion, a world way of living, and they're going to advertise it with the same identical symbol of the World Communist Party. I'm saying ABC, Disney is incredibly dark. Anything comes out of Disney today, I turn and leave the other way because I know it's going to be a dirty, filthy political movement that's going on in Hollywood. And ABC, Disney is leading the whole world.
Yeah.
It's an incredible situation. And
So,
the reason I am playing on this subject so hard is because I've seen it with my own eyes. And if I could show it to you, you would see the importance of what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So some people are thinking that if they leave the United States, they're going to be okay. But I hear you talking in terms of the world.
Yeah, I think it's all coming to the whole earth. The entire earth is going to be involved in this. It's a worldwide movement. And the worldwide movement is to control the human destiny of human beings on the earth. And this is why they are completely destroying all religions. They are destroying all theology. They're destroying all of freedom, the ideas of freedom, the liberty and justice, intelligence and wisdom. All that's being wiped off the earth forever. And it's all being done according to a well-laid plan.
So do we have any recourse? Is there anything, a lot of people with the awakening think that if individually and collectively we can raise our vibration to the vibration of love, that we're going to thwart evil. Is that true, or do we have any possibility? Or
only thing I can see after 60 years of looking at this subject and knowing what I know about it, the only thing I can come up with that might possibly help the human family is what Gandhi talked about: resisting without violence, nonviolent resistance. That's the only thing that's going to save us is nonviolent resistance. Just don't buy into it ever again, and start talking about that symbol and talking about where it came from and telling people where it originated and what it means, and don't have anything to do with it. Yeah. And if that kind of knowledge spreads around the world, then they've got to go back to the drawing board and start all over again, because their conspiracy has been found out.
Right.
The method of indoctrinating the humans has been found out, and I can show it to you. I've got a lot of material in my computer waiting to be produced, and I don't have the wherewithal to do anything. Right. But once I have the what I need to produce the video, it's going to shock people. It's going to be a real shocking experience to watch what I put out.
It's going to be it's even more complicated, Jordan, because, and this makes me so sad, because if everything that we're talking about is true, people are indoctrinated by allowing their emotions to be so on fire just to fight each other over Democratic and Republican. So that's taking a whole huge segment of the population out of the realm of being able to assist with the nonviolent resistance, because they're all encumbered with that.
Yes, I totally agree with you. This is why I don't discuss it in the relationship to political at all. I explain it that you need to understand and see with your own eyes the symbols and then see where it began and see what it means and what the people who started it many centuries ago, what this symbol meant and where it came from and how it was used in the ancient and prehistoric world. And it's still here today, which tells me that this symbol and this idea must be a very ancient one coming from somewhere else. It's not human to want to take over the world and make all humans into animals and take their minds and take their brains and take their freedom from them. This is not something that's human. And it's been around for a long, long, long time. Thousands of years this symbol has been used around the world, and I cannot explain to you without you seeing it. You have to see what I'm talking about.
Do you have a drawing or any kind of a chart or anything handy?
I do have, I think I have a picture of it. Where did I, oh, here it is. I've got a whole write-up for Hollywood. I'm talking with a motion picture producer, and he wants to do a movie on this subject.
Wow, great.
So I did a whole write-up on it, but I didn't give it to him. I'm not giving this to anybody until I've got it. Here in the book, Fire in the Minds of Men, it says the origins of the revolutionary movement. The fire in the minds of men. It says here, this is in the very forewords of the book, written by the chief librarian for the Library of Congress. He said, the history of modern revolutions is the story of people in the grip of ideas and beliefs. In this particular book, this masterful work, James Billington, whose first book was The Icon in the Acts, established him both as a formidable scholar and a sparkling storyteller. But in this book, Fire in the Minds of Men, James Billington traces the course of the revolutionary movement from its earliest origins in occult Freemasonry to the allegedly scientific communism and Marxism of today. So here is the chief librarian of Congress saying that what we call scientific Marxism and communism is actually the work of occult Freemasonry. That's what he said. And boy, when you see his evidence, he has nailed this thing down. And let me get you.
You mentioned a little bit ago that you were wanting to produce some things, but you didn't have what you needed. What is it that you need to finish whatever productions you're working on?
Hate to say it, but it's finances. I don't have the finances to get people to do things for me. I need professional people who can take pictures and do the magic that Hollywood does so that I can produce, because my big problem is I can make the story and I can make my point myself in my own computer and sell it, and it will be obvious. But there's so much going on in Hollywood with music, with themes from motion pictures, television shows. I want to incorporate that kind of high technology into the presentation so people can see it with their own eyes and hear it with their own ears. The same words that the Soviet Communist Party was talking about is now on ABC television, that's in Disney movies, it's in motion pictures and televisions and History Channel, Discovery Channel. All kinds of entertainment are using the same symbols. Let me give you an example. Here is the symbol itself. This is the national coat of arms of the Soviet Union, okay?
Yes, I know that one.
Can you read it?
No, we can't really.
No, I can't quite see it, Jordan. If you want to go ahead, that's fine.
See if you can read it.
Oh, yeah, I see that. In 1923, the present, I can't read that. You guys, can you read it?
No, if you could read that for us, I think would be better, Jordan.
Okay.
Difficult to see.
It says the Soviet coat of arms on the left graphically presents the dawn of a new day for the entire world. Its slogan, repeated in 15 national languages of the Soviet Union, is "Workers of all lands unite." This is a symbol for world communism, and it's called Dawn of a New Day. You see the sun rising on the earth?
Mhm.
Yeah, we can see that.
Okay. And you see the word dawn of a new day?
Yep.
Move it to the other
The
direction.
other
there.
side, yeah.
Yeah, the other side of the
quite
page.
It
Yeah,
was there.
we see the words right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Thank you.
in the movie, as I tell you, I took it off of the movie, and here is the television show on ABC with the extraterrestrials in the movie and the TV series called Visitors from Outer Space. And the visitors are distributing a booklet to the whole world to let them know who they are and why they're here. And the booklet, the visitors are spreading.
Yes, we see that.
Right.
Yep.
Dawn of a
Same.
new day.
It's amazing.
Then you have these two ugly characters, Obama and Hillary. And Hillary is proud to present herself with the dawn of a new day. And Obama, dawn of a new day, Marxist, Leninist, Soviet communist.
Wow.
This whole thing has been planned for a long time. And Steven Spielberg put together a television show for children on Saturday morning. Spielberg produced it, and it's called Pinky and the Brain.
Right.
Pinky and the Brain.
Right.
You need to go back and go on the web and type in Pinky and the Brain on YouTube and listen to what the two little cartoon characters say at the beginning of every week, every episode. Little Pinky is a little rat, and he's talking to a big rat. And the big rat is the leader. And Pinky, the little rat, says to the big one, "Well, what are we going to do today, brain? You're the brain. What are we going to do today?" And Spielberg has the big rat say, "We're going to take over the world like we've always worked to do.
Right.
We're going to take over the whole world."
Wow, I know somebody else who said that.
Yeah.
Then the music starts. Then the music comes in. And the song talks about the dawning of a new day when the sun will rise on America and there's going to be a new world order. And this is what the song says. Listen to the words of the song that ABC puts on Pinky and the Brain. We're going to take over the world. We're going to take over the world the way we've always done, the way we've always worked. We're going to take over the world today like we've been working all of our life to do. And then the music comes in, talks about the new world order is coming because it's going to be a dawn of a new day. All of this is in children and comic stuff on television. Most people don't even know what's going on at all. But when I show you, I've got tons of documents and pictures from all over Hollywood where they're promoting this idea of the dawn of a new day.
Wow.
And boy, is this an incredible story when you find out it's connected to the extraterrestrial presence. They bring it out more and more on the extraterrestrial movies, TV shows about the movies about extraterrestrials. They're bringing out this theme, dawn of a new day for the extraterrestrials coming here to control us and to lead us into a wonderful new world order, where there be no more religion, no more government, no more freedom, no more nothing. You're just going to be a slave.
I always liked that Pinky and the Brain show. Freakazoid was one of my favorite characters. People nicknamed me that when I was.
Go back and listen to the beginning of it on YouTube. Listen to the beginning of it.
There's actually some pretty funny stuff on that show, actually, as I recall.
Here's John McCain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's We know what he was, but
Yeah.
we have gotten a little ways into the show here. Should we take a break and then deal with another subject right afterwards?
Yes.
That's
Right,
fine.
we're going to come back in just a few minutes with the second segment with Jordan and talk about something completely related, but on a different plane.
And
And
what,
very
Do we have another
interesting.
moment? Do we have another moment?
sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Here is a speech given by Adolf Hitler in 1939, and in the speech he gave, this is taken off of a radio show he did, and on the bottom you can see where Hitler said, "For all Germans to awaken, because it's the dawn of a new day." Even the Nazis use that term. If you go on the web and type in "dawn of a new day," Nazis, the SS, the Gestapo, the Nazis used it.
It's a pretty popular political theme.
That's right. It's used all the way back into the Roman Empire. The Romans talked about the coming new world order in which the sun would rise on the dawn of a new day. This bullshit has been going on for thousands of years, and the human family have no idea in the world what's going on. It's coming, and I know that they're getting ready to do something big with it in next year, because next year is going to be the do it or don't, and they know they have to do something. And I wish I could show you.
Amazing, Jordan. Really amazing.
Well, let's take a break. We're going to come back and have another
come
segment.
back.
Jordan. So just hang tight, and we're going to run our music. Be sure to pick this up, and then there's be a part 2 out on YouTube, the second part of this in just a few moments. So hang tight.
Okay.
We're going to give you the outro here. Let's do this here.
Obama.
Okay,
so that's what Obama was all about.
Jordan, hang tight. We're going to our break music right now.
Okay.
And then as soon as we come back in just a moment, I got to hit stop the stream, and then we got to wait a little bit, which means we can all take a potty break and come back.
Yep. Okay.